Avant. I don't know why I have these headphones on because I'm not talking to anybody. But how are y'all doing? Hello, everybody. So I'm just testing to see that everything is live over here. Let me make sure. Let me see. Again, everybody, how are you guys doing? Welcome in. Hopefully you guys are hearing me here on this amazing day. I'm just testing to see real quick. 1 second. Mic check. All right. 1 second. Don't see anything live. Let's see. All right. Live events. This should be live. Let's see. Hide. Default video. Save. All right. Again, everybody, welcome as you come on in. I hope that you guys can hear me loud and clear as we get ready to get started here with this awesome training, darlings. All right. Hold on. Let me refresh it and see. It's not pulling up anything. Mic check. So I'm also testing out a new software in the process of doing this training. And I did it the other day and it worked fine. I think I just did something wrong here. So I don't know. Let me see here. I'm just going to put the YouTube link on here and then we'll get started. Okay, let's see here. Okay, let's see here. Test. Good to go. Save. All right, let's see if that works. And then if so, then we can get started. Oh, maybe that's what I wasn't doing. Let's see. All right. We are live, I believe. Yes, we are. Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, so let me just go ahead and pull up the conference here on my phone. So we are actually watching the conference for those who are registered here on a software that is called Be Human that we are testing out. And so, of course, if you want to watch from the software, you'll need to register by going to podcastchallenge.bookprofitsclub.com. Okay. Podcastchallenge.bookprofitsclub.com. But I'm going to go ahead and get into this. All right. Access with Google. Oh, that's how the registration works, huh? Pretty cool. All right. Let me know what city and state you guys are chiming in from. I'm going to go ahead and pull up this presentation. We are here for this podcast interview mastery. My goal is to show you guys how to get on these podcasts, how to get this thing lit, okay? How to get it lit for 2024, right? However, what we got to do, guys, is we've got to prepare for 2024 now. In fact, it's almost kind of late. We're almost kind of late, if I could be quite honest. And so we want to go ahead and get into this thing, okay? So get into it. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to see something. Location. Okay. Access. Hold on, y'all. Cars. Oh my God, Australia's doing the most. Nine 43247. 9 43247. Access. 792-032. I'm coming, y'all. 792-032. Okay. There we go. Perfect. All right. So we are here. So, okay, wonderful. We are here. Let's see. Hopefully everybody can hear. I'm trying to see if I can see the chat. Okay. So anyways, I'm testing out this software because we're going to start using this software for our conferences. All right. So for those of you guys who are watching online right now in the chat, go ahead and let me know what city and state. I see that we have Angela, Jessica, Avalon, and Theron. Is it Theron? Hopefully I said your name correctly. Welcome in. Welcome in. Go ahead and let me know what city and state. And I do apologize for the delay, but I'm going to go ahead and pull up my screen so we can get started here with this incredible training. Let me actually download this. And I'm going to go through a lot of stuff on here. Hopefully you guys are not just preparing to get a quick 10-minute training, because that's not what I do. Okay, so it's definitely going to be a very detailed training here, y'all, that we're going to be going over. And I'm going to be showing you some examples and everything. We're going to be lit, okay? Now, do me a favor, guys, in the chat space, can you let me know what it is that you guys do? In the chat space, let me know what it is that you guys do, okay? Let me know in the chat space, all right, what it is that you guys do, all right? So that I can get an idea of who we are talking to. Now, of course, if this is your first time ever getting a chance to see me, my name is Taria Avant. I work with speakers and coaches. I show them how to leverage their books or future books to generate multiple streams of income by teaching them how to get exposure with experience in the right environment. My goal is to show you how to generate $10,000 a month working 2 to 4 hours per day. And if it's one thing that I have come to understand is that recognition gets recognized. There's so many sources of recognition out there, from getting on media, from getting on stages, and also podcasts. And so right now, I want to show you guys how to be able to position yourself so that you can be on more podcasts. Okay, we have Livingston, Alabama, Macon, Georgia, Bryan, Texas. Okay, you own a women empowerment media and business support agency. All right, awesome. School transportation. Okay, so are you guys speakers and coaches? Because hopefully you guys are speakers and coaches and I can help you. Okay, so anyways, with that stated, y'all, allergies are hitting me. I'm going to get it together. Seattle, Washington in the house. Awesome. Tish, I can't wait to see you in a couple of weeks here in Atlanta, Georgia. All right. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and start this presentation. Why is my camera looking froze? Can y'all still hear me? Camera is frozen. Let me see here. I don't know why the camera is froze like that. Okay. Let's see, speaker. Okay, you guys are speakers. Okay. Cool beats. All right, let me see something. I don't know why the camera's froze. All right, child. Technology want to do what it want to do. I don't know. Y'all can still hear me, though, correctly? Can y'all still hear me? Hopefully y'all can. If y'all can still hear me, let me know in the chat space. Let me know. Okay. I have no idea why the camera just froze like it did. This is crazy. Can I add something to this while we are figuring out why the camera is frozen? One thing I have come to learn, y'all, is that when challenges come, you don't let them phase you. Amen. So for those of you guys who are not registered and you want to be, you can still hear me. Okay, cool. You want to get the PowerPoint presentation, you need to actually register for this training. All right. So if you're not registered, you need to do that. Let me unplug the camera. Maybe that'll help it. Let's see. I feel weird with y'all not being able to see me on a webinar. There it is. Hello. Okay. Even though I'm looking real regular today, honey. Okay, got the hair in the poof. So let's get into this. Okay, so if you want to get the PowerPoint and all that good stuff, I'll add it right here. If you want the PowerPoint and bonuses, go to podcastchallenge.bookprofitsclub. And this is also where I'm going to be chatting with everybody and answering questions. We're going to go into a breakout session. For those of y'all who, it's funny to me. I'll have people that'll get on a free training and literally be trying to rush me. They will get on a free training that they didn't pay no money for and be like, when are you going to be done? I'll be like, the nerve. I ain't lying, y'all. I ain't lying. But then when you send them an invoice, they don't want to pay that. Well, for free, I want to also dictate how long my free training is going to be. Okay, so anyways, let me get into this. All right, so y'all ready? Let's do it. So if you want the training, you got to go to podcast challenge. Is that the link? Podcastchallenge.bookprofitsclub.com, and that will give you the details on how to join us here live in the chat session. Okay. All right. So mastering podcast interviews for sales with Taria Vision Avant. So again, I will send this PowerPoint to everybody who is registered. So you are simply here to just listen, take notes on what you're hearing, and of course, ask those good questions. I know. Listen, Tish, the nerve. Okay, so first of all, why are podcast interviews so important, especially more than ever today? Let me ask you guys a question. In the chat space, if you have more than 100,000 followers, I want you to put one in just on one platform, so not combined. On one platform, if you have more than 100,000 followers, put one in the chat space. If you have more than 50,000 followers, I want in just one, so not combined. In one platform, I want you to type the number 2. If you have more than 25,000 followers, I want you to put the number 3. And if you have more than 15,000 followers, 10, I'll do 10 on just one platform. So not combined. So like on your Instagram, if you have 10,000 followers, or on your Facebook, only one platform. If you have more than 10,000, I want you to put the number, number 5. So put 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, right? So what I say? 100,001, 50,002, 25,003. And for number 4, if you have more than 10,000, put that. And I'm being real serious here when I'm asking you guys to put that in there, and there's a reason why. So far, I don't see anybody putting any numbers, and so it's safe to say on average that most of us don't have a massive following on one single platform of social media. Does that make sense, guys? And so why do we want to get on podcasts? Because they give us the opportunity to get exposure where we are not getting it currently in our social media. Okay. Also, what we must understand as well, guys, is that even if you do have 10,000 followers on Instagram, everybody is not seeing what you're posting. Okay. So it's important to know that platforms like podcasts give you an opportunity to gain that additional exposure and expand your reach. Also, you're able to be positioned as the expert. So one of the things that I make sure that I do when I'm on a podcast is I like to give them a list of questions that I would like for them to ask me centered around my topic of conversation. You get to build relationships. So I was just recently on a podcast that was here in Houston. And because I was on the podcast, I had a good time. And when you invite me on a podcast, baby, you never know what you go... Because I'm going to be me. I'm just going to have a good old time and be myself. And from that, I was able to reach out. I like the setup that they did. And I want to be able to bring more people to them and connect them with more people. So it gives me an opportunity to connect and build a relationship with them. Content repurposing. If you go to my Instagram right now, matter of fact, let me show you this. Not only am I going to go, not just go to my Instagram. Let me do this real quick. I'm going to go to my TikTok because I want y'all to see how I repurposed one of the posts on my TikTok. And right now it has a larger, let me see. How do I find Vision Avant. Chat. Sorry for the noise. I don't know if y'all can hear that noise. But let me post my screen. Let me share my screen real quick. I want y'all to see this. So this was from, I'm on TikTok. I don't know if it's going to let me view it, but hopefully it will. Look at this. This is a post from the actual podcast that I was just on. And if y'all know anything about TikTok, honey, TikTok will be shady on the views, baby. Look at this, 730 views so far. And then it led to this one having more views as well. So just being able to leverage other interviews, podcasts that you're on, you can repurpose the content. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, type 2 in the chat. Type 2 in the chat. So you can repurpose it. And you're able to ultimately drive traffic, which ultimately gets you more sales. And at the end of the day, that's what we do this for. We get on podcasts so we can drive traffic to our pages to then drive sales. Amen? Drive traffic to our pages to then drive sales. Now, when you are on a podcast, it is so important as well that you know who your target audience is. So, you know what's funny? They actually, when I was on the podcast, he was asking me questions about being single and stuff. And I actually love when a podcast interviewer goes beyond just the business talk and kind of makes it personal, because it allows me to establish relationships with the viewers as well. But because I also know who my audience is and I know who I serve, I'm able to create conversation, or at least answer the questions in the way that I know that my target audience is going to appreciate and receive. So it allows me to be able to communicate with my audience. But when you know who your audience is, you're able to communicate with them better. So listen, for example, why am I pitching myself currently right now to get on relationship podcasts? Because I know that my audience, majority of my audience, is single women. Now, do I have a lot of clients who are married? Yes, I do. But I also know that there's a large number of single women who fall under the categories that I also serve as well, that are listening to relationship podcasts. Okay. It's just a big thing. So why would I want to get on a relationship podcast to talk about being, writing a book? No, I just know that that's where my audience is. And I know that 9 times out of 10, they probably going to relate to a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about. And guess what they're going to end up doing? Following me. Because in business, people don't just do business with people anymore that they know, like, and trust. They do business with people that they like, trust, and relate to. Amen? Like, trust, and relate to. And so if you want people to do business with you, you got to make sure that they like you and that they trust you, but they also need to feel like they know you. Amen? Okay. Another thing about podcasts is that it allows you to have better conversion rates. Y'all, I was on a podcast that did not have a lot of views. This is the thing. This is what I be needing y'all to catch on to, because I was on a podcast that did not have a lot of views, right? Hold on, y'all. I'm multitasking. And there it is. Boom. So I was on a podcast that did not have a ton of views, right? But let me tell you what it did do, is it had the right audience. And because it had the right audience, y'all, listen, I was able to get so many incredible qualified leads just from being on that podcast. Are y'all with me here on this? See, a lot of times we think that we need to get on some of these bigger name podcasts, when not even realizing that it is sometimes the smaller podcasts that are going to give us a better conversion rate, because they're serving the audience that we actually speak to. So you can literally get on a podcast that can help you to convert and get more sales. Let me tell y'all something. How many of y'all been posting your business on social media? If you've been posting your business on social media, type 3 in the chat. If you have used social media to post your business, type the number 3 in the chat. Type the number 3, because I want to see who I'm talking to here. If you've ever used social media to build your business, Tish says yes. Okay. Who else? Anybody else using social media to build their business? Anybody else? Just Tish? That's it? Only Tish is using social media? So what are y'all using to build y'all business? I'm just messing. Dr. Tajiri, Angela. Okay, good. So what we must also understand is that every single time you post, guess who's seeing it? The same exact people who didn't like and didn't comment the last time. So we just keep posting to people who either have already probably invested if they were going to, right? Or people who are just watching. It's funny. I think the people that tend to, the ones that have been watching me for the longest and they invest, they not even following me. They just be watching from the sideline. It's the ones that follow you that ain't doing, that's never gonna buy nothing you selling. So we work so hard to promote to the same people every single day that ain't purchasing and ain't buying, instead of working on expanding our network. Let me tell you another thing too. I don't like staying in these little cliques. You know how, have y'all seen some of them? It's circles out. Now, if your circle is giving you an expanded reach, yes. But like, for example, there'll be conferences, that I used to go to, and it would always be the same exact people at every single year at that conference. Same exact. There was no growth. The same circle. And people are wondering why their business is not growing. Because you're just literally circulating your products and services amongst people who have already bought or who are never going to buy. And so being on a podcast allows you to get in front of new faces. Amen. And so that is so important, that you want to be able to get in front of new people so that you can be able to talk about your products and your services. Now, here again, I'm going to send this PDF to those of you guys who are registered. You go to podcastchallenge.bookprofitsclub.com if you want to get this link and if you want to get this PDF. Now, let's talk about some sales-oriented messaging. So another thing that I see a lot of times when people get onto these podcasts is that they don't know how to communicate what their product is, number one, and how to be able to convert people from the podcast. Guys, when you go on a podcast, your number one goal should not be to sell your books. Your number one goal on a podcast should not be to sell your books. When you get on a podcast, your number one goal should be to build your database. To build your database. How many of you guys have a CRM that you are currently using right now, where you can send leads to, where you can get their information and start to follow up with them? How many of you guys have that in play? Because if you don't have that in play, guys, this is what could be killing your business. But also, when it is time for you to be able to make an offer, you must remember that your goal of being on this podcast was to walk away with leads. So when they say how to get in touch with you, you must know how to sell. And I don't care if it's something that you're giving away for free, you still got to know how to sell that. Oh, baby, let me tell you something. A lot of times when people get to the opportunity where they say, how can I get in touch with you? Let me tell you what a lot of things that people do. So what a lot of times what people do, number one, is they say, oh, well, you can email me. Stop giving your emails out, guys, when you're doing broadcasts. Like, do not give your email. Think about it. Imagine you're on a podcast and 100 people are listening and 30% of them want to take advantage of what you're offering. And you just gave, is that an efficient way to follow up with everybody when you say, y'all email me at Taria Vision Avant, here we go, at Gmail. I'm about business, but I'm giving you a free email, gmail.com. Ladies and gentlemen, stop doing that. Number one, I'm not giving nobody no free email and telling them I'm a millionaire or a six-figure coach or a $50,000 coach or I'm going to help you do better in life. Child, please, boo. Number two is it's very difficult to actually efficiently follow up with every single person if they do email you. You must create a system that allows you to be able to sift through the people who are for real and the people who are not by utilizing a CRM. Amen. And so when I'm sending you when you tell me how to contact you, I'm not going to over communicate and over communicate and over confuse people on how to get in touch with me. Another thing I see people do is give their phone number out. Can I give y'all a little bit of blessings out here, y'all? Can I help y'all real quick? Stop giving people your phone number. Stop giving people your phone number. Matter of fact, let me tell you something. Do the owner of Walmart give their cell phone out? No, they have a business line. Business line. If you call my cell phone, the voicemail will tell you, baby, that this is my personal line. So if you calling me about books, if you calling me about business, baby, you got the wrong number. This is Taria Avant's personal cell phone. I do business during business hours, and so you must call a business line. Amen. Now, what I do is I make sure that I create effective ways for you to be able to be in touch with me. So giving out a cell phone number when 9 times out of 10 you are a one-man bandstand is not going to be the most effective way for you to be able to connect with people, especially when you're on a podcast. Because think about it, you might get a lick and you get on a podcast that has thousands and thousands and thousands of views. Amen. But guess what's going to happen when them people start calling your number? You're going to miss out on all them calls. Heck no. Who wants to do that? Do you know I got somebody on LinkedIn the other day had the audacity to send me a message talking about your people. I done messaged your people. They didn't get back with me. This do happen when you fall through the cracks. And I just don't want to do business no more. Imagine you done got on a podcast and you done gave everybody your phone number, and now they all calling you just from that simple fact. That's why we have to get more staff, because I need someone that can manage my conversations now once they sift through and they're qualified. But woo, Lord, that was just one of the thousands. But imagine we have thousands of people that you're missing because you've given everybody your cell phone number. Come on, y'all. We got to start doing business right. So when you're making that offer and you're on these podcasts, y'all, you got to know how to sell it. Now, another thing, y'all know I help authors. So stop getting on these podcasts without having your books. Even if, you might not bring it in on that particular podcast, but have your books with you. When I go to events and I'm on a podcast, I'm going to give you copies of my book. I want to make sure that I establish that connection with you and build that trust and relationship with you. Now, also sales oriented. When you are making your offer, or when they say, hey, how can we get in touch with you? How can we get in touch with you? You're not going to tell them that, well, I got an event coming up next week. Let me tell you why. Now, yes, I have this on here, like, the FOMO, fear of missing out. Those are things like that. But one important thing that you must remember when you are on a podcast is that you want to keep what it is called in the world of marketing forever green. The reason why are y'all still with me here in the chat? Tish, Tajiri, Angela, Rashard, what's going on? Are y'all still with me? Don't get bored now. I need y'all typing in the chat. I need to see what y'all doing. So listen, the reason why you're not going to tell people like an event that's coming up, because think about it like this, guys. If this podcast goes live, first of all, people be telling people about events. Sometimes the podcast don't even go live till a month, 2 months later. Hello? But also when somebody goes back and watches the podcast and your offer was that of an event that's coming up and an event has already passed a year, a month, whatever, years later, the person is going to say, well, dang, I missed the event. Let me not even hit them up. Because that was the only offer you made. And also, I do not believe in making multiple offers because a confused mind does nothing. So when you guys get on these podcasts, first of all, what you need to remember, guys, is that you need to keep it forever green. This is why I do not tell nobody on a podcast about an event that's coming up. I don't even care if they ask me about an event. I made those mistakes. So when they say, Taria, how can we get in touch? I say, listen, thank you so much for asking me. In fact, I'm so glad that you asked I have a free masterclass that you can actually register for, where I'm going to go over the mistakes that authors actually make when it comes to promoting and marketing their businesses. If you go to 10kbook.com, you can register for my free masterclass. Well, Taria, let me share my screen real quick so y'all can see. Taria, well, what about Taria, if somebody wants to buy your book? Well, interviewer, thank you so much for asking, because what you can do is if you go to 10kbook.com, by the way, this is a page that we designed for all of our BPC Speakers Elite and Inner Circle. We create this page for you. They just fill out the information. So I say go to 10kbook.com, and when you fill out that information on 10kbook.com, on the next page, you're going to get a chance to actually register and get a copy of my books. So I'm going to instruct them again. Notice the only website I've given so far is 10kbook.com. I'm going to make this so easy. So look, boom. Y'all see that? So for our clients, we do the same thing. When you create your page, when we create the design a page, you have your hook item page where now first you get their information. Then when you send them to the next page, it then says upgrade and purchase my books. Okay. So Taria, well, what's your Instagram? Because y'all will let people fear y'all into making multiple offers. You know that? Y'all will let people fear you into making multiple offers. What do I mean by that? I mean, you'll let someone say, well, what about your social media? And you be like, dog, let me give them my social media because they asking for it. No, baby, you going to get this same website. I'll say, well, interviewer, thank you so much for asking. Now, of course, I'm not going to say interviewer, but you know what I'm saying. Well, interviewer, thank you so much for asking. In fact, if you go to my website, 10kbook.com, and register for my free masterclass, I will then make sure to email you all my social media details because I know that everybody that's watching this may be on different platforms, and I want to make sure that you can get connected to me in any way possible, shape, form, fashion. Hello? What did I just do? I continue to give you the 10K book. Now, you want to, when you are on that podcast, the other sauce, and this is in the sales-oriented message, when you are making that offer, the other sauce that you want to add onto it is something that's going to get them to act right now. Right? So one of the things that you could do is you could say, listen, and for everybody that goes while supplies last, you could say that because they don't know how many supplies you have. Everybody that goes to this page and you put in their form, when it says who referred you, go ahead and put the name of the podcast, and I'm going to throw in a free gift at no charge, but you need to go and do it now, ASAP. While you're watching, go and do it now. Y'all see what I'm saying? So while supplies last, while we still have available, I'm going to throw in this additional bonus. Now, what would the bonus be? It needs to be something, especially if you're having them go to your page and sign up for free, that's not going to cost you any money. Stop trying to do stuff that's going to cost you money. Like, I'm not shipping out books for free. No, that's what we're not going to do. Now, I will do it if you pay for the shipping, but I'm not going to give you no books for free. I'm not about to pay to send out something for free, but you can offer certain incentives and giveaways. There's all types of stuff that we make available as resources to our BPC family. Now, establishing a connection with the host. Make sure, y'all, when y'all get on these podcasts, research the people. Oh my God. I done interviewed some people. They be getting up there calling me Taria. Now, y'all know, if anybody has been following me for the longest, my name is Taria. By the way, I say my name literally so much on social media that you should know how to say my name. It, to me, and I'm at this point where I don't even really necessarily correct people anymore, but I can tell if somebody is not doing their research on me, if they're calling me anything else but Taria. Maria with a T. Come on, Tish, right? My name is very easy to pronounce. And so when I'm going on a person's podcast, I make sure as well, if their name is spelled differently or something, I'm going to go try to find the way it's spelled. And guess what? Ain't no shame in my game. If I get on the podcast and I still don't know how to, I say, no, correct me again. How do I pronounce your name? Because I want to make sure that during the interview, I say their name. I want to make sure that they know that I know a little bit about them too, or that the audience too. Try to engage in small talk if you can. So before you get on a podcast, you don't want to just get on a podcast, whether it's virtual or physical, and you just go straight into it. That's not cool. So if the podcast starts at 2, try your best to get there at 1:45 if you can. Okay. If it's physical. Virtual, they might say log on 5 minutes before, but try to create a little bit of small talk to build the rapport, because when both of you are comfortable with each other, the podcast interview becomes amazing. If people don't feel good about each other, you can feel it. And don't nobody got time for that, right? Remember, use their names. Do not be afraid to, when you're doing your podcast, y'all, to share stories. Everybody type this in the chat. Stories sell, facts tell. Stories sell, facts tell. So for example, if somebody asks me a question about, why do you, how do you recommend somebody write a book or whatever, or something like that, right? I said, well, I might give them the steps, right? And then I say, matter of fact, let me give you an example. And then I'll use a story to lay it on top. because the people will remember that story versus them remembering you giving them steps, right? Does that make sense? So never be afraid to implement stories. In fact, I'm going to challenge you guys to think about 10 stories or so. You don't have to write the whole story out. Just put the name of the person or the situation. And it could even be someone who you've never worked with, a celebrity, something that when you are in these interviews, you could be able to use the stories. When you look at some of the most notable and prominent and most remembered public speakers in the world, they're very good at storytelling. Don't you be afraid to also ask questions back. Okay, so ask questions, find out what, the details about the podcast, how, where's it going to be? How can you reuse it? How can you read content? What else can you do to make it be, important or valuable, et cetera, et cetera. Express gratitude. Oh my God. Let me tell you something, y'all. We got to learn to humble ourselves, honey. Baby. Humility is at an all-time low. I'm trying to tell you, people be out here thinking that everybody owed them something. Everything is you supposed to have this and this. No, baby. I don't care if somebody got one person on a podcast. If you invite me to be on your podcast, thank you so very much for allowing me the opportunity to be here. Show gratitude. One thing I can tell you about gratitude is that people like gracious people. People like people that show gratitude. God likes gratitude. Show gratitude. It's something about the seed of gratitude that can produce a harvest that can truly change your life. So do what you can to make sure, even if don't nobody show up on this live, show gratitude. Okay? Follow up when the podcast is over. Make sure. So like I did the podcast this recently here in Houston and I followed up with them. I like the setup. So I was like, well, listen, how can I come back up in there? I'm trying to come back in there. What can I do? I was going back and looking at some previous podcasts that I've done recently, following up with them, sending them a little thank you, a book and things of that nature. We're going to talk about the challenge that we're going to be doing this month, but all types of ways that you can follow with individuals to create, again, that relationship. Be yourself, baby. For those of you guys who registered for this event, you went to podcastchallenge.bookprofits club. It took you to a page that showed you some of my previous podcasts. Child, I was looking at some of the podcasts when I was loading the videos. I was over here crying, okay? Baby, one thing about Taria Vision Avant is that there is no duplicate of her. I do not get on somebody's podcast and try to act like something other than what I am. In fact, I don't even, because I'm an entrepreneur, I don't even got a code switch. Baby, I can talk how I want to talk. Okay. And I believe it's important to, when you go on a podcast, to be willing to show your personality, the personality that you want people to see all the time. Do not be afraid. If you do not know big words, do not get on the podcast trying to use big words. Use the words that you use. If you like to talk in big words, cool, then do it. I mean, leave everybody else confused. That's what you want to do. I mean, if you got a little ebonics in you, baby, don't feel, listen, do you. Because one thing I can tell you is this: when you are really yourself, can I be real transparent and can I be honest? I just want to prepare y'all for something. When you do make a decision to truly be yourself, there are going to be people who will not like you. Is that okay? When you really are yourself, there'll be people who will not like you. But the people that do love you will ride for you. It's called not being an in-between person. It's called not being a people pleaser. It's called being yourself. And in being yourself, the people who are drawn to you, the people that God has assigned to you, will come to you quicker. It's too many of us out here trying to be something other than what we are, which is the reason why it may be possibly keeping us from true happiness. Now, I ain't going to say that it keeps you from success longer, because I know some people, they've been able to put on a front and do all this type of stuff and get to success. But ultimately, when you look at it being down, deep down inside, you're not happy because you're not yourself. So do not be afraid to get on these podcasts and be yourself, okay? Now, preparation is key. Let's get into preparation. I'm going to hurry up, y'all. I'm going to hurry up. So first, we want to make sure that we prepare. We talked a little bit about this, but first of all, know your messaging and your talking points, okay? So make sure that when you look at many of my podcasts, yes, outside of the talking points, whatever they're asking me about the day, do you believe in it, cool. But I have specific talking points that I want to make sure that I get across, because every single time I am speaking on a stage, my goal is to collect coins or contacts. Specifically, when I'm on a podcast, because it is a cold audience, I'm not even worried about collecting coins. The coins will come after the contact information, okay? So when I'm on a podcast, my intention is to give good value, in exchange, offer an opportunity for you to stay connected to me through my CRM. Does that make sense? So you must know your talking points. If you do not know your talking points, baby, you will have spoken for an hour plus and walked away with nothing. Make sure if you are virtually meeting with people, please do not get on a podcast when it's time to get on and now you adjusting your camera and your microphone. Do that before. Does that make sense? Like, have your microphone ready before, be centered before, turn on the camera. There's different apps that you can turn on to test to make sure that you are aligned, that everything is good. Also, quiet. Child, I was somewhere and somebody was on a podcast being interviewed. Next thing you know, it's people all in the background yelling. I said, Lord, you wasn't ready for this podcast, was you? By the way, you know, I'll call people out. You weren't ready, was you? That is a distraction. And I'm going to tell you something about distractions. While you may be able to ignore them, other people that's watching that podcast, they can't. And it throws off the whole energy of the podcast. So do your best to be in quiet locations when you are virtually. Always have a backup plan. So if there's a technical issue, another thing I like to do, sometimes y'all saw how my camera froze before. If I had needed to, I could have decided, you know what, let me go ahead and change my camera on my phone because I can use my phone as a web camera as well, okay? So always have a backup plan if you need to, okay? And make sure that you are punctual for your interview. Don't be late for your interviews, okay? Now, success stories. Remember, as I told you, I want to challenge you guys to have a list of at least 10 success stories. 10 success stories that you can actually use. So when you are doing your interviews, you can share them, because remember, stories sell, facts tell. If you can be able to create those opportunities where people can see themselves as your client, that is when they're more likely to want to invest, okay? So remember, stories sell, facts tell. Have those. Even if you don't, okay, for example, again, you might say, well, Taria, I don't have a lot of clients, so I don't have a lot of stories. Yes, you do. You have clients of celebrities. You have clients of people on social media, Instagram. It's so many different stories out here that you can actually use. It doesn't have to be your own story, okay? Call to action. So we talked a little bit about doing that, you know, creating that messaging behind selling, but let's also talk about having a radio-ready domain. Okay. So this is so important. I see people do this all the time. Stop giving people bit.ly links on an interview. Stop giving people your facebook.com/ link. We don't even know if down the line Facebook decides to change their whole domain system to Meta. You do not own that link. You do not own the bit.ly link. Guys, make a small investment in yourself and purchase a custom, what is called radio ready domain. My domain, 10kbook.com, is radio ready because it's very easy to remember. And because my messaging is always centered around helping individuals to make $10,000, I make it easy. Radio ready, 10K book. Look, I see Rashard is on here. His wife has createpeaceathome.com. While that is long, createpeaceathome.com, it's a little long, but it is so easy to remember, which makes it such an amazing domain, especially because the marketing is all behind creating peace at home. Does that make sense? So a radio-ready domain needs to be something easy to remember. It needs to be something easy to spell. No hyphens, no periods, no dashes, none of that. Keep it simple. And only create one way for people to get in touch with you. Do not overcomplicate this. If people really want it and you learn how to make that offer the right way, people are going to go to your website. They're going to sign up. They're going to get started with you, whether it's to sign up for the free giveaway, which typically that's what I'm sending them to. Okay. Remember, you want to give that instruction as well more than one time. So not just one time. Don't just say, well, go just and make sure you explain it too. Oh, go sign up for my free ebook by going to 10kbook.com. No. Oh, hey, how do we get in touch with you? Well, for those of you guys who are speakers and coaches, and you want to learn how to leverage your book to build multiple streams of income, go to my website, 10kbook.com, where you can register for my free masterclass that's going to teach you the mistakes that authors are making, which are keeping them broke. So go to 10kbook.com to register for my free masterclass. You see what I just did? I offered it multiple times. And focus on getting those leads. Because remember, guys, well, I didn't tell y'all this, but typically 70% of most sales are made after you make the offer. So when you guys are on a podcast so busy trying to sell for money, remember that many people may not be ready to buy then and there. And I know some people say, well, Taria, why can't I just sell the book? It's only $20. How many of y'all have ever gone to a website to make a purchase? And for whatever reason, maybe the credit card didn't auto-populate. Maybe, you put it in and you try to figure out what the zip code is because you didn't change the zip code don't work, and it declined. Maybe it's, you know what, I'm gonna get it in a minute because it's only $20. Not a big deal. I'll get it when I get it. And you never got it. See, that's why I like to take people to the step of register for my free masterclass first. So at least, listen, y'all, so at least I can get your information first. And then if you don't purchase the book, I still can be able to contact you. Follow up. How many of you guys have a CRM? If you have a CRM, I want you to type CRM in the chat. If you don't know what a CRM is, essentially it is a software that allows you to be able to email, text, and depending upon your functionalities, other things with clients on automation. Our software with Book Profits Club, it allows you to email. It allows you to text. You can send voice messages. We have so many new developments that are on the way, by the way. We've got some AI that is implemented with our CRM. It's actually live now, but I got to teach y'all how to use it. But we have so many different things that are available, which are designed to make your business easy. And y'all would not believe how many people just send people to go follow them on Instagram. Baby, how is that efficient? How is that efficient? By telling someone to go follow me on Instagram. You gonna message every single person that follow you on Instagram? No, you're not. Are you gonna be able to get back with all the messages in your DMs? No, you're not. It is not easy. So I like to create a simple system. When you write, let me show y'all. Matter of fact, I'm just gonna show you. Because I feel like, story sell, facts tell, right? Story sell, facts sell. So let me pull this up. So when somebody joins my list, right? When somebody joins my list, they are then added into a CRM. And let me pull it up. I just want y'all to see. This is what the software that we make available to our clients as well. Okay. So when they join the list, they are added into a series of 20 plus emails that I have gone in and created manually. So when they go in, they get the first email. It's a long email, right? Look at this. All these stuff, I can go here and look at the statistics. 51% open rate. Look at this. 2%, that means people actually clicked on the link here to this webinar. 42% open rate. For the next 20 plus, is more than 20 because I added in some more emails. They're going to get an email from me every single day. Does anybody know why I make sure, and I don't have to do nothing. It's automated. I just created the initial emails. Does anybody know why we do that? Why do we follow it with emails? Why do we follow it with text messages? Does anybody know why we do that? Type in the chat. Let me know. Type in the chat. Let me know. No. I want. You know what? This thing. I hope it don't cut y'all off. Anybody know why we send those emails, the text messages? Why we invite them to the webinars? Some of you guys that are watching this webinar have been following me for years because the fortune is in the follow-up. Absolutely, Tish. It takes multiple exposures. So you've got to make sure you stay front of mind. Some of y'all have people who have joined your CRM and the only time you messaged them was the one time that you messaged them when they signed up. You have to continuously stay in front of the people. Think about it. Shoot, do y'all know? I saw Georgia Power had a special going on. Georgia Power? They had a Black Friday special. How Georgia Power gonna have? Now tell me if I'm wrong. Isn't power regulated? Electricity regulated in Georgia? I know here in Texas, we can choose our gas companies. Anyways, you got to be following up, y'all. You need to have a system in place, and many of us are not. We don't have a system, and if we are, we're not effectively using it. Hello. Okay, so here's the podcast challenge. Now, for those of you guys who are part of the Book Profits Club family, if you are a part of the Book Profits Club family, you already are going to have access to this spreadsheet. I'm about to pull it up real quick. Let me pull it up real quick just so y'all can see. If you are not a part of the Book Profits Club and you don't want to join, but you still want to be a part of this challenge, I'm going to show you what you could do. And you only have to pay one time. You don't have to join the membership. But I want to show you guys something. Let me see here. 1 second. The challenge is going to start next month, December the 1st. The goal is that we're able to pitch one podcast per day in December. Just one. One podcast a day minimum in December. Okay? And the intention is to get 5 of them to say, yes, we want you on the show. 5. Now, let's do some numbers here. Let's just pretend we pitch one a day, 5 say yes, and those 5 on average have about 100 viewers. So it's a total of 500 viewers. Let's just say you're able to convert 20% of them. 20% of 500 is 100 new leads for you and your business. Now, can I ask y'all a question? How serious are y'all about really, really impacting lives? If you're serious, I want you to type 10. Between a scale of 1 to 10. 1 to 10, you're serious about truly impacting lives. I want y'all to put that in the chat. Let me know. Because if you are a 10, I believe that when a new lead comes in, you need to do what you need to do so that you can get them on the phone, get them on a Zoom, get in front of them, so you can close the deal. Imagine 100% if only 10% of them became clients, in fact, if you're following up right, about 20 to 30% of them will become clients. But let's just say only 10, and you have a product package that's $1,000. You just made $10,000 from 5 podcasts. Okay, I want to show you the spreadsheet. So what we're going to provide to you guys, for everybody who is a Book Profits Club member, Gold or Speakers Elite, you're going to have this access to this podcast list. Let me share with y'all real quick so y'all can see it. We've done tons of research. And what I realized is y'all ain't going to do nothing unless we make it a challenge. So let's do it together. We've got top entrepreneur podcasts. Look at this. Tons. Y'all see how many it is? You're not running out. You're not running out no time soon. These are entrepreneurs. We got women podcasts, relationship podcasts, top black and business podcasts. Entrepreneurs and then business podcasts, Christian podcasts. We have tech podcasts, men podcasts. Look, fellas, I didn't leave you out. Top Muslim podcasts. Anybody in the finance space? Top finance podcasts. It is safe to say that we have a list for everybody, and we're adding more to it. The goal is that you pitch one a day. Out of all those lists, one a day. 1 a day. Now, let me show y'all, because many of you guys are going to be able to go through this podcast list and find the contacts that you like and say, you know what, this is this. I want this. I want this. I want this. For those of you guys who are speaker in Book Profits Club, we are also going to be sending you an automation. Let me show y'all. It don't get no easier than this. An automation where you literally can import in all of the podcasts that you want to use, and you can send them a message. Watch this. So I went and created a pitch for the relationship podcast. 3 emails. We're going to send you these emails. You're going to have these templates, right? So you're going to be able to have this template that you're going to be able to send out. This is for my book, Yes, I'm Single. I wrote a collaboration book called Yes, I'm Single because I want to be on relationship podcasts. Because they don't want me to get on the podcast and talk about books. They don't want to hear that. So I wrote a book about relationships because I want to be on a relationship podcast. Watch this. Did y'all see how many people I've sent it to? So watch this. So I already sent this to 223 people. I sent it to 223 people. If I go here to the email, I'm going to click on the statistics. Just want y'all to see. So what I'm showing you guys is with the CRM, you can take the spreadsheet, find the podcast that you like, create your own, import them into your CRM, and you can email them all at one time. Are y'all with me? You can email them all at one time. Okay? And so now you're able to send a message out to all of those people at the one time. I don't know what is going on with my statistics. It's not showing. Let me go to this one real quick. Let me see. When you go right here, you're able to take all of the people on your CRM and import them all at once. Here we go. So 82%, it was delivered. 49%. We had 9% of them click on the link. Imagine you get all of your 30 messages or all of your 30 podcasts done in one time. Now you're able to follow up with those podcasts. So what is the challenge? Let's go back to the challenge. 5, the goal is to get 5 to reply. We're going to give you the list of 1,000 plus. If you notice, it's way over 1,000 plus podcasts, and we're adding more to it. We're going to provide you with the email automation as well. And we're going to have a private chat community. How many of you guys want to be a part of a community where the goal is all of us to get booked on a podcast for next month? We may not get booked next month, but at least by January. If you guys want to be a part of this challenge, I want you to type 1 in the chat. Type 1 in the chat if you are down to get down with this challenge. Type 1 in the chat. Okay? Now, all BPC members, if you are part of BPC Gold, BPC Speakers Elite, you're automatically a part of the challenge, okay? If you are not, and you don't, to join Book Profits Club, all you got to do is go to Book Profits Club. But if you're not, and you're not ready yet to join the monthly membership, this is all you need to do. It is $97. You're going to get this list of podcasts. You're going to get the email follow-ups. You're going to be a part of the private chat community. And you're going to be able to have a community of people that are rooting for you to get booked. Because how many of us know when we can see other people doing a thing, it inspires us to do the thing. Does that make sense? So if you're not a part of Book Profits Club, you can, of course, go ahead and join if you wish to. You're automatically going to be qualified to be a part of the challenge. And if not, and you just want to be in the challenge, all you have to do is go to, I'm going to put the link in the chat. You're just going to go to Book Podcast Challenge.bookprofitsclub.com/enroll. I just put it in the chat for you guys. And this will allow you, one chat every 2 seconds. This will allow you to be able to register and be a part of this challenge with us, okay? So if you don't want to join the Book Profits Club, but you do want to do this challenge, you want to get on more podcasts. It's funny because at our last conference last year, our last Author All-Stars, we had a gentleman that told us one of his clients literally made $1 million just by positioning themselves on podcasts. Just by positioning themselves on a podcast. But the question is, do you have the database? Do you have the list? And on our list, we don't just have the name of the podcast. We literally have, some of them have emails, phone numbers, the website, their Instagram. Like when you get a good one, stalk them. And I'm going to show you what to do, even if for those of you guys who take the spreadsheet, you import it in. What we're going to do is pay attention to the ones who actually open it, and then it's going to be called arbitrage. We're going to make sure they start seeing us everywhere. So for the people that actually, let me show y'all again. So for the people, when I go in here, automation. Okay, so let me show y'all. I bet y'all. Okay, so when I go in here and I look at the people who opened it up, right? Not even the ones who clicked. I'm going to look at this 49% who opened it, right? So these ones who literally opened it, watch this. I can go to these folks, right? And then what I'll do is I can look at their contact details, look at their website. I can follow them on Instagram. I can follow them on Facebook. I could go, look, they got a Facebook. And now they're going to be like, dog, this person is everywhere. You better believe it, right? Like, right? I could be like, hey there. This looks like it's truly going to be amazing. Because they've already opened it. So now they know a little bit about who you are. They're going to be like, oh, dope. This person is doing their thing. Does that make sense, y'all? And so this is how you use that spreadsheet effectively. Y'all, getting on a podcast can truly change the trajectory of your business. I promise you. I know this from experience. Okay, so again, guys, for those of you guys who want to get started, and you are not a part of the Book Profits Club, of course, if you go to bookprofitsclub.com, you can get started with the BPC family. If you just want to do the challenge, it is $97. You're going to go to podcastchallenge.bookprofitsclub.com/enroll. I'm going to put it on the screen. podcastchallenge.bookprofitsclub.com/enroll. All right, y'all. So listen, for those of you guys who are still with me, I don't want to scroll it. Dynamic. Those of you guys who are still with me, what I'm going to do is we're going to go over to, does anybody have any questions? Let me just ask that first. If you do have questions, just type the question sign. And then if so, we can go over to a separate little chat that we can do that's private, where we can chat in the lounge. Okay, so if anybody wants to join me in the lounge, type a question mark. If not, I know we have a lot of BPC members who are watching. Hopefully this was of value and you see why you're going to be a part of this challenge, why you want to be a part of this challenge. And then for those of you guys who are not yet BPC and you want to become, you're going to go to that link or just go to Book Profits Club, because that's going to get you, when you join the Book Profits Club, not only are you going to get the email automations, but you're also going to get the system, the CRM that will allow you to send out those emails and messages as well. All right. Well, listen, y'all, my name is Taria Vision Avant. I pray that your day was full of peace, prosperity, happiness, healthiness, and everything in between. Was this good? If this was good, type 1 in the chat. Let me know. I appreciate you guys for being here. It's time. Look, December the 1st, we're about to get on it. December the 1st, the goal is a podcast per day. If you're part of the challenge, you literally can take that spreadsheet. You can pitch yourself to all of the 30 podcasts for the month of December, and then you start doing your following up. All right? All right, y'all. Well, God bless. Talk to y'all later.